Hi, everyone. My name is Brian Endless, and today I'm launching a new movement, the Come Together Project. I'm a political science professor, but please don't hold that against me at Loyola University of Chicago. And I've been teaching about how politics and our economic system work together for years now. One thing I pride myself on is that I have always stayed open to listening to all sides, whether or not I agree with people. I believe we are all humans and deserve respect, and that we all want freedom to live our lives the way we want to. And I think fundamentally that everyone is just trying their best to live a good life and contribute to society. What's the main lesson about politics that I've learned from teaching and listening? I'm sick of it. I'm sick of politics as usual. I'm sick of most of our politicians who care more about winning the next election and about money than they do about their constituents. We used to be a country that cared about each other, where community mattered, and where we looked out for each other. A country where government worked for us. And getting back to that is worth fighting for. I'm especially sick of having a government that pretty much everybody agrees was bought and paid for by a small group of rich elites. They have all the power. They influence policy and write the laws. They decide who gets elected based on who they fund. In short, they've used their immense wealth to purchase a government that works for them, not for the rest of us. This is one of the few things that almost everyone on all sides of the political spectrum accepts as true. But instead of getting together and saying, stop, we've had enough, we don't do anything about the people who've taken control. What we do is fight with each other. Instead of focusing on how to make the system better, how to create a system that works for all of us, we fight the culture wars. We fight about abortion, racism, guns, LGBTQ rights, sexism, and many other issues. And when we fight about those things, we lose. Because while these issues are incredibly important to all sides, we never seem to move forward. But this isn't entirely our fault. The fact that we fight each other is by design. The elites want it this way. While we are looking elsewhere, fighting among ourselves, we are distracted from what the people in power do. We don't focus on them, and they laugh all the way to the bank. And they use the extra money they get to buy even more power and to keep us shut out. They encourage us to fight every chance they get. They put money into think tanks to come up with new ways to get us to fight and into buying media outlets and ads that encourage us to hate the other side. This is not a partisan issue. The left does it. Do you know anyone who hates their family because they voted for Trump? Anyone who doesn't understand how someone can be MAGA? Anyone who thinks everyone on the right are deplorables? And the right does it too. Do you know anyone who thinks their jobs are being taken by minorities or immigrants? Who hates LGBTQ people and thinks they should be eliminated, often when they've never met one? Who wants to ban books that they've never read? These are just a few of the ways we are taught to hate each other and encouraged by our politicians and the press. This is where the Come Together Project, or CTP, comes in. I founded CTP as a social and cultural movement with the goal of showing us that we really are all one people. I want to take us away from a country with two warring parties and move us back to a country where community is paramount. The goal is to show Americans that we have much more in common than we think. I want to encourage people to fight back against the people who benefit when we fight each other, to take our society and culture back, to take our economy back, and to take back our government so it works for all of us. instead of for the small group of ultra wealthy elites. What do we have in common? Just a few things. We all love our families and our kids. We want to be able to make a decent living so that we can support ourselves and our families, preferably without working 2 or 3 jobs. We want a fair wage for a fair day's work, not a dime for every dollar the boss makes off of our work. We want to be respected and to be able to respect ourselves when we look in the mirror. We want our kids to get a good education in good schools so they have a good chance to live better lives than we do. We want decent health care without insanely expensive drugs and insurance companies that deny coverage for things they should pay. We want access to the little things in life, like a decent house, clean water, decent food, broadband access no matter where we live, and help from our community when natural disasters occur. We want clean air and clean water, and we want 1,000 more things that make life livable. These are not too big to ask, and they should not just be dreams for most Americans. So what's the problem? These are things that the vast majority of us want. Why can't our government work out solutions to provide them? Sadly, because they do not benefit that small group of ultra-rich elites, it is unlikely our government will act on these things. In fact, in a lot of cases, it actually benefits the ultra-rich elites to hamper any progress toward the things the rest of us need. Why? Because they know that in a fair society, they would have to pay for them. They would lose the tax cuts they gave themselves. They would lose the special tax and business codes they paid legislators to write into law. They would have to pay the same taxes the rest of us do on their income, including paying for Social Security in full and having tax on investment income that matches the taxes we pay in our paychecks. If our society was actually fair and not bought and paid for by the ultra-rich, all of these benefits would go away. They would be treated just like the rest of us. And this is very fair when you consider that a lot of their insane wealth comes from profits that could have gone back into lower prices or higher wages for the rest of us, or both. To be clear, I'm not talking about small business owners here. If you don't make millions a year or have less than 100 employees, you are not ultra rich. There's a big difference between owning a vacation house or a boat and owning several houses around the world and a fully staffed yacht or two. And I'm talking about the people who have hundreds of millions and even billions of dollars. The top 1%, the people for whom wealth has surpassed luxury and become obscene. So what is the Come Together Project? First, we are going to go out and listen to what real Americans want, the majority of us, red, white, and blue states. We're going to find the things we have in common and encourage people to focus on those instead of fighting with each other. We are going to encourage Americans to take a positive view of our country again and to ask how we can come together as a community to actually form a more perfect union. My personal goal is to allow my friends, family, and everyone in this country to be able to sit down at a table for a family dinner and not fight. To be able to sit with your family and friends and have a real discussion about things that matter. To allow us to be positive and civil with each other. For us to stop assuming that we have to hate people we disagree with. And if we can do this, we can take back our politics. We can push out the people with the money who have been making laws to benefit themselves. And we can bring people together to make laws that work for all of us. But first, we need to come together. I hope I can count on your help. Thank you.